Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Fuente and Meerapfel present Meet the Professor. Hello, world.
Hello, Jeremiah.
Hi there. And look who's back, the one and only, the Professor. Professor, I think there's a lot of people out there that want to see your face today.
Yeah, he's on mute.
He's on mute. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Professor, there he is.
To be honest, and first of all, I want to, welcome everybody back to our show. I know it's out for three or 4 weeks. And I want to take the opportunity right now, first of all, to thank. I've always gotten a lot of comments on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but to get like 25 to 3,000 comments, best wishes, prayers, and thoughts. I want to thank all my brothers, sisters of the Leaves, and friends who are on Facebook and social media who just wanted the best for me. Second, I want to thank Jeremiah for his support. Also, the Fuente family, Liana, Carlito, Cynthia, that would probably call me every day. And of course, last, my kids, Emma, who did a fantastic job, herself having COVID, and also Jasper. It was not easy for her, for 24 days. Thank God, at least I'm negative. Emma and Jasper will go on Tuesday. I think they're negative. But there's one last thing I want to say. Look, I don't get into politics. I don't care what your politics are, Democrat, independent, communist, socialist, whatever it is. What I can tell you is this. COVID is not a joke. It's not a flu. Social distance yourself. Wear your mask. And at least take vitamins A, D, zinc, magnesium. Drink a lot of water. For those who have survived COVID, I'm glad. I'm part of that. I'm going to try to make a T-shirt that says, I survived COVID. And for those who haven't, please wear your mask. And social distance. And it's like I've told a couple of people, and I'm not afraid to say it here. If I wouldn't be in the care that I got and taking things seriously, you have not seen Jose Blanco, the professor, or AK, whatever. So again, thanks for everybody who prayed for me, for my family. And again, COVID is not a joke. God bless.
Thank you very much, Jose. You heard the man. Be careful, take care of yourselves and of others. Wear the mask. For those people out there who are more fragile, who have, for whatever reason, who are more susceptible to contract the disease in a tougher way. We've never spoken about it before, but you have living proof here. Some people have lost people, other people haven't, but that's besides the point. If you don't take care of yourselves, make sure to take care of others. This is not a joke. Jose was away for the best part of a month, and we are very thankful to the Lord that he's with us today, because he was very, very sick. Jose, we're very happy to have you back and to see you smiling and with your hair combed and with your beautiful Fuente shirt on tonight and your big smile. We're very reassured to have you back tonight. And everybody, every single buddy watching this show and not watching the show was sending in messages, very worried about you. And
yeah, I know, because by mistake, I was in the hospital and I hit that button. And then a lot of people, started saying, you don't look good. What do you mean I don't look good? and then you called me up and I deleted it. But like I said to a couple of friends, I would never put that up. It was just that, I guess, Facebook Live, it came out. But I saw a photo of myself and I said, shit, man, this is that man's role.
Yeah, that was PG-18, but not broadcasted out of Switzerland.
I know, but, getting into a little bit about the last week, we have to definitely talk a little bit, first of all, of our good friend and one of my best friends, Ernesto Perez Carillo, getting the #1 cigar of the year with the pledge. But still, our company with Opus, which in my opinion is a worldwide product, got #2. So, like, it's a little family. Ernie, ourselves. I mean, Carlito and Ernie know themselves for 40 years. I've only known them for 25 years. But it's good for Dominican Republic, #1 and #2. So we're very happy about that. I haven't smoked the pledge. The funny thing is, Ernie sent it to me on the 22nd, and I said I gotta let him rest a couple of days. On the 25th, woof, to the clinic, and I won't be smoking till around. Doctor says around March. So on Fuente Friday, I said to everybody, "Happy Fuente Friday! Light up one for me." And it was, I would say, 80, 90, 100 people who lit up cigars on Friday. Because I couldn't do it. So that was good. So what do you think about #1 and #2, Jeremiah?
What do I think? I think that you made a promise, and I said I'd only let you onto the show if you didn't talk so much because you need to rest a little bit. And here you are babbling and babbling and babbling again. So you know what? We're all reassured because you're doing pretty well.
But I told you that Friday night with the African group, Bassam calls me up and says, "Oh, Mr. Blanco, we have our meeting and this and that."
I heard about it. And the 10-minute meeting lasted for 2.5 hours. Yeah.
And I go like, "Bassam, but but could you do us a favor?" They had like 23 guys there. I mean, people from Angola, people from all over Africa. And when I said goodbye to him,
I'm gonna have to shut him up. I just muted him. Ladies and gentlemen, the king of schmoozing, the professor is back. We send you our love. Now stop talking, and we're gonna get Carlito onto the show. Carlito, welcome.
Good to see you, brother. You're looking great. If I would guess, I would say that you had a late night party last night, and your voice sounds like you've been partying, but I would never know that you were in the hospital for several weeks. Not by looking at you. You look great. Makes me happy. You're back. It was difficult keeping you down, even while you were in the hospital bed. You'd be on the phone every day sending messages. You never missed a beat, never stopped working. I know that's your life. And everybody's just so happy to have you back. It's not the same without you. It never will be the same without you.
I don't know if you heard the whole show, Carlito, but in the beginning,
Yes.
I thank Jeremiah and especially you, Cynthia. Yes. You had my back. So, okay, I asked Jeremiah what he thinks about #1 and #2. Your thoughts on Ernie and Dominican Republic getting 1-2?
Well, listen, I'm just very happy to be mentioned anytime, anywhere. But of course, it makes me very happy. I feel Ernie's recognition is a recognition for the whole industry. It makes me very happy. I know the family, they're very well deserved. I mean, Ernie can be a #1 every single year. I mean, he makes great cigars, and everything he does with passion and with heart. And it's just a question of the way the cards fall. And very well deserved. Beautiful family, hardworking. And I've always said, I think that he knows he's perhaps the best, one of the best tobacco blenders living today. And he loves it. It runs in his veins. And, I'm just so happy for him. I'm happy for all of them and everybody, all my colleagues, to see so many colleagues mentioned and everything. It's just good. It brings excitement to the industry. And it's a good time of the year when we can all just look and celebrate. It was very rewarding to see other colleagues congratulating each other and everything, and tapping each other in the back. And that's what we work hard for. Work hard, that we're seen, that we're remembered, and that to feel that we're providing something that's bringing joy to other people. And this is one of the greatest way to recognize that is by the mentioning and everything, and being #1 cigar of the year. It's a huge accomplishment, which is not the first time he does it. It won't be the last time.
No, definitely. And I mean, our second place, we've been already cigar of the year a couple of times. And what I was saying to people I've talked, it's good for Dominican Republic because We make great cigars. I don't care what anybody says. We make great cigars. Listen, Carlito, something we have to talk about this week is the reaction, not only in the States, because also my good friend and dear friend Jeremiah, his ears are exploding about the pinks. We knew it was going to be a hit, but for you, seeing what I consider, and again, people know me and you know me, I'm not saying this because I work with you. I would have said it to you in one of our casual meetings around there. What Pink has brought to the table to consumers, and to be honest, the men have gone wild with it. But I got to tell you something. The women are looking for that like it was the last something that came out from Louis Vuitton or Stefano Ricci or one of those guys. Pink has gone like, I don't know. I don't have words to describe it because I'm not as eloquent as my good friend Jeremiah.
Actually, the pinks is something that it's something that was born organically. It evolved. It's accumulation of my lifetime, where I am today and where I come from. And I felt all the confidence in the world that it was going to be something that was going to be admired by so many people for the fact that it's just so different. And to be able to accomplish something once again so different in the cigar industry, sometimes it's very difficult. But the pink is a product that I say was evolved organically. It's something that goes back, that in the back of my mind for many years. It started with seeing my daughter Liana suffering, which is painful for any father, and seeing what she went through with her aunt, and then all these different things. So for many years now, we have been casually promoting pink, how important pink is, and to me, how important women are. My mother, my grandmother, all the women in our lives in our cigar world, all the women that sometimes have been left aside and not recognized with the respect that they deserve. So pink is something that's working in me. And, I'm saying, what is pink? But this was held back as a secret from my daughter. She actually did not see the box, the first box that was open in front of her. I designed the band, the box. Remember, under COVID, I did everything in-house. The box in my office, little by little, with our box company, changing this, doing this. And she wanted to see what I was doing, but I wanted to surprise her because it had her signature on the band. It has her initials on the band. It has Cynthia's initials on the band. And it was a project about women. It was something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And slowly, we've been bringing little subliminal, however you want to say, quietly little messages. A year ago, I'm taking photos with pink shoes and everything. But I knew it was going to be something that it was going to catch attention at least. The rest is up to the individual consumer. But it was something that was part of my life, because when I thought of pink, I thought back. Remember, I grew up in the 1960s. I was born in 54. So I was 14, 15 years old, 16 years old, in the middle of the candela. You know what that means, the fire. Martin Luther King, assassination of JFK. I knew exactly where I was. The years of Vietnam, the years of going across the street and playing kickball with my neighbor in his yard and going inside for orange juice or refreshment and seeing his mom in front of the TV every single day, watching the names going down on TV of all the soldiers who had passed because their son was in Vietnam. The days of Led Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones and Jimi Hendrix. And I was in a band, and I used to go to those big open fields when you had all night rock and roll and everything. And I lived those years, the years of the revolutions, the year when people were daring and boundaries were broken, when brassieres were taken off. And that was the most exciting part about the 60s, the brassiere part, when women were dare enough to go out without brassiere. That was, for me, the most exciting part that I don't forget. And to me, it was about women. It's about that time. It's about revolution. And I thought to myself, man, I came out, we started putting a green ribbon on a cigar and the cedar. We were the first. And all of a sudden, and then we come out with this with another color ribbon. And now I see Instagram, I get confused. I don't know which of my cigars or which are not, because everything looks like a Fuente. So I said, what could I do that's so different and so daring? Nobody would dare make a pink box. So that was part of this whole thing. I said, I've done this before. I want to do something this special and identify with the women and all that they mean to us in this world. And came out with the pink. And when things are done from heart, aside from the charitable part, where $13 per box is donated to charity for research and for cure breast cancer. Besides that, when something is done from the heart and it's so real, and you pour your heart into it and you work on it for years, I had a good feeling it was going to be something that was accepted. But what I didn't know is that it was going to be something that was going to be captured and captivated by so many people that they're just going crazy for the cigar and just the whole presentation, and that they're part of it. Because remember, many people are part of it. This is a program where everybody who buys that cigar is in some way indirectly, they're doing something good for humanity. So this is something that's very close to my heart. And I'm very grateful that people have enjoyed it, and all the responses have been very positive. And I expect it to continue that way. We got 2 more sizes coming out this year of the pinks, because they want to do everything at the same time. It was a tough year. We had so many things coming out to help the brick and mortar, even the Naked Kings. We did the Odo Scudos, which were not even announced. I mean, there was quite a few things this year, which to me, that was my Christmas gift, was all those messages from the brick and mortar saying, Carlito, we know why you did this, and we thank you for taking the initiative and doing this for the brick and mortar and helping the family businesses. So that was my Christmas gift. All those responses and comments. And in life, when you get to a certain point in the cigar world, the only thing that you can aspire for and everything is just, keep creating the hits. And, instead of playing the hits that somebody else has created, just keep creating your own hits. And I really believe in that. And I continue to create more. I continue to hope to create more hits. Don't hang my gloves up, Jose. And especially after the example you just gave us, I don't want to hang my gloves up yet.
Jeremiah, so do you still have that headache that you've had like for the last 2 or 3 weeks with the calls for pinks?
No comment.
No hablo español.
My phone's been ringing nonstop for the past whatever it is. And every time I pick up, I'm just hoping to be surprised that somebody's going to ask me another question. But they don't. Have the pinks arrived on the international market?
Well, everything in life.
No, they haven't. Have the pinks arrived on the internet? No, they haven't. Have they arrived? No. When are they arriving? Don't know. Are they arrived? No.
Well, to be honest with you, it's a very limited product. There's only so much we could do, so many cigars we could make. I felt it necessary. The pinks I've been working on for over 2 years. The cigars are very old. They've been sitting in the age rooms, but only one person makes each size. So, the market is so big. So I wasn't going to release it in 2020. I was hoping to release it maybe in 2021. And, but because of COVID, because so many small brick and mortar family stores suffer so much and gone through so much difficulty, that I said, no, this is the year that I have to release it. Remember, I didn't have the aid of outside help. I had to do everything indoors because we were locked down under COVID. So, but it was for the brick and mortar, and it was our goal for strictly for the brick and mortar, the members of the PCA who are good standing order, pay their dues, are active. to take care of those, the ones that really fight for the industry or involved with the industry. But you think you have problems. I have calls from our biggest customers in the United States, but they didn't pay their PCA dues, including Casa Fuente. I got a call from Casa Fuente. Casa Fuente, the store that I own, they don't have things because I believe in your word. What you intend to do is to help the PCA members because there's only a limited amount. But there's still a lot of PCA members in good standing order who have not received the things that they'll be receiving the next few that are coming in. But there's a lot of people, a lot of brick and mortar retailers who don't have the pinks, who are screaming, who are becoming members of the PCA now so that they can receive the pinks. And other cigars that Liana announced on Friday, other things are coming out for PCA members. There's only so much to go around. So what do? You set a rule. Where is it best? Where does it best contribute to? And I think the brick and mortar to bring us all together. And I gave my word that's the way it's going to be. The day we have enough pace, then we'll be able to spread it out. But it's going to be a while, so we have to be patient. Either that or I'll go against my word. And I don't intend to do that this time or ever.
Well, there you heard it. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We have in one corner Jeremiah out of Belgium, and on the other corner we have Carlo Fuente, a.k.a. El Papo del Humo / the toy maker. So bear with me, guys.
Yeah, out of the cradle of cigar capital of the world, Ybor City.
Yeah, out of Tampa. Look, this is not a fight because Jeremiah.
This is where I leave the table, Jose. If this is a fight, I'm getting out of here.
Because Jeremiah is a middleweight, and Carlito is probably a heavyweight around there, more or less. So it's not fair. So we're gonna do.
A welterweight.
Okay, guys, we're gonna have some fun, and I think that people are gonna like it. I think one thing I have to say is, and people have complimented me, and I've told Jeremiah and Carlito. I think that people have seen another side of Carlito, Cynthia, Liana. Jeremiah also. We've heard stories that I didn't even know. But now we're going to really have some fun. So first to Carlito, because Carlito is older than Jeremiah. What is it they say? Age before beauty or something?
Not by much.
Yeah, like 100 years.
Much?
Okay, bear with me. You can take your time to answer. Carlito, a person that you would have loved to smoke a cigar with.
Well, the question, I want to be clear with the question. The person that I would love to smoke a cigar with?
No, a person you would have loved to smoke a cigar with. So that means that person is not alive.
But it's not a person that I have smoked a cigar with. It's someone
No,
that I've
somebody
never met.
that you would have loved to enjoy to smoke a cigar with.
I know I can name two people right now who I would love to be able to smoke a cigar with, who have passed on, who are no longer with me. But if the question is who would I love to smoke the cigar with, and it's not those two people who are dear to my heart that I would like to go back and have conversations with, I think right now to the top of my mind would be John F. Kennedy. I would like to know it's not about tasting cigars, but how in the world was he able to manipulate and have all these beautiful women around him, and not get the suitcase packed thrown against throwing out. I would love to find out more about that. And I think that those Kennedys, that they're very smart, but I think they're in the background they were very cool guys. I would have loved to smoke a cigar with
but
John.
remember
you don't have to go back to the Kennedys. I mean, you could just knock on Clinton's door and have a drink with him.
Well,
Yeah, but at that time they had
no, you know
CNN
what?
and Fox.
He said, but the question was, I would have loved. I
Yes.
still have expectations to be able to do that with President Clinton.
Jeremiah?
I think I would if there's a person I could, I could I could go back in history and have the honor of meeting and smoking a cigar with and spending time with. Undoubtedly, it would be Moses. Undoubtedly. If I could, have a fraction of a millionth of a second, let's just keep it at that.
Okay, start now with Jeremiah. A person that you would never have a smoke with.
My 4-year-old daughter.
Carlito?
I remember where I was raised and how I was brought up. The only thing that comes to my mind is Fidel Castro.
Valid, very valid. Okay. A spirit you would never drink, Carlito.
A spirit I don't know if they exist. A spirit that I would never drink. A mineral spirit. Mineral spirit. I won't drink mineral spirit. I don't even want to smell it.
Jeremiah?
Yeah,
But
I was just about to say.
If it has octane, I'll taste it.
I was just about to say. I think the only thing I haven't tasted yet is gasoline.
Carlito, have you had moonshine?
No, I've tasted some of that. I've tasted gasoline. Pardon?
Moonshine.
Moonshine. I tried moonshine.
And I guess you've had Mama Juana.
Yes, I've had Mama Juana. That's very nice, the whole thing. Mama Juana is actually very, very nice. Very tasty. It's very spicy. It's nice, incredible flavors. And it's got this magical attribute to it, that it people go all the way to Dominican Republic to try to source the real Mama Juana because it turns boys into men.
Supposedly helps.
Yeah, absolutely. It helps a lot. It used to help me when I was 20. I gave up on it after I hit 40. It doesn't help the same anymore.
Okay. Jeremiah, if you could only have one spirit and one cigar for the rest of your life, what would those two things be?
That's not game. Everybody knows that answer.
I know the answer, but maybe a lot of people don't know it.
Of course they know it. If they've listened to anything during these shows, they know it. Don Carlos and Chevis.
Yeah.
Carlito?
It would, if I had one really seriously for the rest of my life, it would be definitely Don Carlos Robusto and Chevis 18. I thought about that. I've thought about that before. People are going to think Opus X and everything, but I would pick a Don Carlos. If that's a cigar that you could smoke in the morning, the afternoon, after dinner. Matter of fact, I smoked one last night, and I don't smoke them as often as I do the Opus. And it was just so much more refined. It had strength. It has spice. The more I smoked it, the more I had to keep looking down and say, what is this? Yeah, complex, incredible. That cigar was just hard to improve as a cigar maker and someone who loves cigars. It's one of those cigars that I had to keep looking down and look at the band. And it's just a Don Carlos for real. It was just on point. And because that was more, it's got a lot of emotional attachments to me for many, many reasons. And that would, if I had one cigar and I had no other choice, it would be a Don Carlos and Chevis 18.
Okay.
And I know I won't be alone because there's a lot of people that also would agree with that would be joining us. And I don't like to be alone.
Oh, no, never, never. Okay, Carlito, country on your bucket list that you haven't been to.
Shit, I wish I could say Greece, but I've been there. My bucket list that I haven't been to. Saudi Arabia.
Jeremiah?
It's a tough question. I've been to most places. I think one of the last remaining places I haven't been to is Australia and New Zealand. But not for long.
Okay, even though this question might be, but Jeremiah has good taste for music. Sinatra or Tony Bennett?
For me, without a doubt, Sinatra.
Carlito?
Definitely Sinatra.
If I would be asked the same question, Sinatra. Carlito, who has been the
But
person?
what happened with Elvis? What happened with Elvis? But what happened with Elvis Presley? Tom Jones?
Carlito, could you be a little bit patient? I know that at 64, you're very impatient. And now that you're a toy maker, so aguántate, pap.
Okay, man, okay. Why?
Okay,
Why did you ask me to help you with these questions?
listen, Carlito, the person that you have met that has impressed you the most in your life.
My father, Carlos
Okay,
Fuente.
we know that, but outside of your father.
There's so many, Jose. So many. If this comes to tobacco and respect in my world, a person that I would love to still be sitting at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning at the bottom of Chevis or more than one and discussing tobacco and arguing to see who was right would be Richard Meerapfel.
Jeremiah?
You should have put me first because it's going to look like I'm throwing the compliment back. But I very, very, very much miss my time with Carlito's dad. Carlito knows I spent countless amounts of evenings and nights with him in his house in the Dominican Republic. And that gentleman was something else. The amount of strength and wisdom he had and the power he had inside his heart and his stomach, and the way he delivered it in such a quiet and calm and powerful way, focused way. And that's part of my life which I dearly miss.
Very valid. Jeremiah, biggest regret of your life? Meeting me?
I think the biggest regret is not being born in the 40s.
Okay, valid. To me, it would have been the 20s. But Carlito, biggest regret of your life?
Poetically or honestly?
Have you, since I've known you, I've never known you
I think one of the biggest regrets, I think one of the biggest regrets of my life that I tell my children over and over again, do what you believe in your heart. There was a situation in my life, and I remind people about this. We've gone through a lot of different things through our history. And one of the greatest battles and most painful times of years of my life, or within my family's life, is when we were 3 years fighting the Mondavis, the Rothschilds, and another cigar company who was involved behind the scenes. It was a very vicious lawsuit, and you know, we overcame that lawsuit. We won the lawsuit. It was ruled in our favor, and Fuente X became what it became. But it was already very large before that lawsuit. Years later, we always, by tradition, we always show things without being in the market, or we tease people, or it takes me a long time to accomplish things because we're a family company. We don't have a big marketing arm or a big production studio, a design department behind us. There was a cigar, Lover 5. It was shaped of a heart, a special size. And I was taking the show, and as a matter of fact, we shipped it. We shipped the first, I forgot how many boxes we made. It was shipped to the people from Cigar Family. It was a tribute to my mother, father, and it was called Love Story. Well, we showed it a couple of years. People see it. And when I went to introduce it finally, a couple of days before, Consolidated Cigar had come out with Love Story. It's the same exact size and shape as Short Story. I never seen it in the market, never heard of it, but they had a sale. They made one sale to one of the customers. And I called my lawyer this time. I want to fight. They said, but you've been fighting all your life. You're selling every cigar you have. You're doing everything. And I said, no, I got to fight. It's a matter of principle. I'm going to fight. I'm going to embarrass them because it's obvious of what they did. They have no scruples. You know, these big companies don't create. They just steal from the little guy. And I was so upset. I wanted to fight. And I started getting calls from headquarters. I got calls from my lawyers. You know, when you go in front of a judge, you don't know what could happen. They show the paper. It's a question of the day that it was sold. We gave our cigars away. We took it to the show. We promoted it for 2 years. And it was one of those weak moments that I was really going through depression, and I was not doing well, and everything was going on. We had just had a big fire, lost tobacco. And I just think to myself, man, listen, even though I'm going to fight. And I left for one moment just to get the lawyers off my back and advising me not to. That's going to cost us a fortune. That people have so much money, that this and that. And I said, no, I regret that for the rest of my life. I would have been a much bigger man and a better man and a cleaner soul and a cleaner heart if that would have cost me $3 million and I would have lost, but I would have fought because it was a matter of principles. I regret that more than anything in my life. I regret not fighting for what was right.
Jeremiah?
And that's how we came out with Love Affair. That's how we came out with Love Affair, which we changed the name from Love Story to Love Affair. And Love Affair, it just turned out to be a great success. It always works out best, but it's a question of principles.
I agree. Jeremiah, fondest memory of your youth.
Say that again, buddy.
Your fondest memory of your youth.
Oh, shit.
Well, we're in Switzerland, so no problem.
Fondest memory of my youth must have been my youth. Well, there's so many, Jose. I mean, I think every part of life is very special. And I was blessed to have a very, very full youth, one which was full of very rich experiences, emotions, and meeting, spending time with the most spectacular people. You have to realize that I grew up in the days when a lot of the guys such as Carlito, were really starting to build up their businesses, and the energy in those days was something very special. This was the time when people were still dreaming of what the future was going to look like, and the power of their hopes and the power of their aspirations was absolutely enormous. These were tiny family businesses that were working off instinct, that were working off self-motivation and drive. And the energy which that creates is very unique. And I think the fondest memory I have is the capture of that particular essence, that energy. The energy of a bunch of guys, Carlito, my father, and others, many others, who were in a gear which was very particular to that moment in their lives. And like I said, the energy which they were giving off, and the magic which was being given off at that particular moment, the moment when you're building but you haven't quite gotten there yet, is priceless. It's a very, very, very pure type of energy. And I think if there's one thing I hold on to, is that particular sensation.
Carlito, fondest memory of your youth.
Fondest memory of my youth is sitting in the table with all my aunts and uncles and cousins, Christmas Eve, a lot of food, a lot of people laughing, saying jokes, and just waiting for midnight. So, we were forced to go to sleep so we could get up in the morning and open up our gifts under the Christmas tree. Yeah, those are the fondest memories of my life, being around my grandfather, all the family together, and hearing them laugh, and always smoking cigars and talking about cigars and blends. It was always part of the conversation. It was, something that started probably at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and went all the way through the midnight. And that was every Christmas Eve. The family was together where my grandfather was living, and they were all living. That's definitely that's the fondest memories, those Christmas Eves, those Nochebuenas.
Carlito, your favorite food.
There's a delay in the sound, but it's okay.
Your favorite food.
My favorite food?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Sushi.
Of course, times evolve, your body evolves, life evolves, your experience evolves. When I was growing up, I didn't know what sushi was, but yeah, sushi is, I would say today, I love sushi. But what could I eat every single day? What is my favorite food? I would have to say black beans, white rice, masita puerco, pork, and roast pork, Cuban style with the mojito, with the yuca. It's all the real Cuban food. That was very special because that's what we ate every Nochebuena. That was our Cuban gathering, arroz frijoles negro, and with the puerco asado, the yuca. And I guess a lot of things in life, or in my case, without thinking about it, I start to realize in these conversations that the things that you really love are things that are attached to your heart and your memories of special moments and people you've been with. And I think that's one of the reasons too, because it brings me back to those special moments. That's the smell that I remember, and all all the things, the sounds of those voices and all that. And there's not a time that I don't eat black beans and rice that my mind doesn't go back to that. It's
Jeremiah, your favorite food?
My wife's cooking, hands down.
Jeremiah, food that you would never eat.
My mother-in-law's cooking, hands down.
Carlito, food that you would never eat.
Oh, food that I would never eat. I have not. I think I've tried everything once, but food that I would never eat. I'm not very big in, well, I am because I eat potato, but I'm really not big in the liver.
Okay. I would
Not big
only,
liver, but I love potatoes and all, yeah. If it's duck and all that, yeah, I love it.
put on the lights. Oh, my
Oh,
God.
wait. Because this is one that I have never had the opportunity, but this is one that I don't intend to eat. Because Jeremiah and his father and his brother have always told me what a delicate test, how delicious it was. The monkey brains. I don't think I could eat that. And that's and when you're invited to go to one of the homes in Cameroon or to go to some place of royalty and they serve that, it's offensive if you don't eat it because that is like the real treat. So. I don't think I wish to be invited to any of those places because I don't think I could eat that. Not after
I,
watching Indiana Jones, no.
I know. I just canceled my trip to Cameroon for 2022. Okay. Jeremiah, Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
Oof, 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 oof. Those are two of my favorite bands. It's not. Those are two. Those are my two favorite bands. End of story. I would add Led Zeppelin to my top three. So that's a question which I can't answer. It's like saying my left or my right arm. Forget it.
Jasper. Lower it. Carlito, Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
I agree with Jeremiah that they're two different things, but I would have to go with the Beatles for the following reason. Because of the success of the melodies of the Beatles. There's not a doctor's office that you don't go to, or not a dental office that you hear melodies in the background and you realize they're Beatles melodies. They're melodies. There are melodies that will last, transcend, time. And for that aspect, I would have to say the Beatles.
Yeah, but Carlito, nothing will outlast Keith Richards.
I agree with you. And I had a lot more fun going to Keith Richards parties, the Rolling Stone parties, than I did at the Beatles parties. Believe me.
Okay, Carlito. Clint Eastwood or John Wayne?
My God, that's another question. How do you divide those two great, giants? Clint Eastwood, I can't say anything negative of Clint Eastwood. I'm a huge fan of Clint Eastwood. He's incredible. There's a special attachment with Clint Eastwood because of the relationship he has with Arturo Sandoval. But I would have to go John Wayne because John Wayne was my father's favorite. I grew up watching John Wayne, and he seemed like he was the character that everybody wanted to grow up to be like. He was just he no difference in Clint Eastwood, but I think today Clint Eastwood is more for us. It's in our lifetime when we know Clint Eastwood. I didn't know John Wayne. John Wayne was something you only could see on the screen, but that powerful image and everything, I would have to say John Wayne.
Jeremiah?
If John Wayne ran for president, I would vote for John Wayne today. We need a John Wayne in the office.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, listen, this is an example where where the generation makes the difference. And I grew up with Clint Eastwood, just like Carlito grew up with John Wayne. So I'd go for Clint Eastwood in this case.
Very valid. Jeremiah, De Niro or Pacino?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Personally, De Niro. I love the attitude.
Carlito?
De Niro's the best, but it's a hard choice. De Niro. I don't believe I'm giving De Niro any kind of credit.
Carlito,
But
Rome
De
or
Niro.
Carlito,
Oh,
Rome?
Carlito,
or
I thought you were gonna go with Pacino just for Scent of a Woman because he had a way with women that just
Oh my
that
God.
De Niro didn't have.
No, you know what? I think De Niro could fit into any part. One of the persons that I would never smoke a cigar with is the character from Cape Fear.
Oh my God.
I never seen a. There's never been a movie that wasn't what do you call those movies, like a fright movie that scared me more than that character of Cape Fear. He's incredible. You know, De Niro, he's incredible. From Awakening and everything he's done, De Niro's incredible.
He looked mean in that Cape Fear.
Yeah.
Okay, Carlito, Rome or Paris?
Rome. Although Paris is the most beautiful city I've ever visited in my life, especially at nighttime. I have sweet and sour memories in Paris. Rome, I've only been to Rome once, and I think I would say Rome. I would definitely say Rome.
Jeremiah?
Depends for what.
Come on.
I would fly to Rome in the morning to have lunch, and then fly to Paris for dinner to take one of the French women out.
No hablo español. No hablo inglés. Okay, Jeremiah, piano or trumpet?
Oh, piano all the way.
Carlito?
Piano. Even though I played the trumpet, and the trumpet's just amazing, but listening to Arturo, who is known to be one of the greatest trumpet players in the world, he would tell you that a real musician, a real composer and everything is the piano.
Yeah, I remember he said it on the show.
And he plays the piano like a maestro, by the way, with a beautiful what is it, Bogendorfer or whatever the piano he has. Unbelievable! What a pianist he is.
I see. Yeah, I check a lot of his clips on Facebook Live. Last two ones. First, Carlito, Yankees or Boston?
Holy shit! Depends on who's asking me the question. I was a Yankee fan growing up all my life. You know, going back to Joe Peppertone, Pete Richardson, Tommy Trash, Boyer on third base, all the left fielders, Elston Howard. I was a true Yankee fan until this young man named Manny Garcia falls in love with my daughter, and anyway, they ended up getting married and everything. And he worked for the New York Yankees. He's a Yankee. He worked for the Yankee organization and part of the Yankee organization. That's when I became a true hard Boston Red Sox fan.
Jeremiah?
Are you seriously asking your European about baseball? We don't even know what that is, Jose. But if I had to answer you, I'd probably go with the Yankees simply because I could have lunch at Peter Luger's afterwards.
Okay, two last questions. Carlito, Pelé or Maradona?
Pelé.
Jeremiah?
I had the privilege of meeting them both, and Pelé.
Jeremiah?
Without a doubt, Pelé.
I will go on that one. Last question. Messi, what's the other kid's name?
Ronaldo.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Messi or Ronaldo, Jeremiah?
Messi.
Carlito?
With that,
Carlito got frozen.
no, without a doubt, Messi, without a doubt, and especially because I know he enjoys cigars. He enjoys a fine cigar, so I think he's a pretty cool guy. Not to
Well,
take away
for those
Ronaldo.
who,
Ronaldo's amazing also.
for those who are tuning in, I
Jose,
think,
let me stop you for 1 second because
yeah.
those 3 last questions were terrible because you're asking me about sports. The last time I did sports must have been, what am I, 43 years old? Probably 43 years old, 43 years ago, coming out of my mother. That's probably the last time I did any form of sports. The last time I watched sports was probably in my mother's stomach when she was at a sports game with my father. So those questions are not for me, I can tell you.
Yeah, but at least, I mentioned people, Pelé. I mean, to me, I think, people have this thing about Pelé and Maradona. To me, I personally would vote for Pelé. But remember, it was a different time. The game was totally different. It's like if you would have now Pelé, Maradona, Messi, and Ronaldo alive, the four at 30 years old, you don't know what would happen. But anyway, listen, for those who are tuning
Exactly.
in today, we wanted to do something different. I know we still have Rich there, and final comments on Jeremiah and Carlito. I don't know if you like this idea. I came up with it to change the things around, but I had fun with it.
No, thank you
I
very
like
much,
it.
Jose. I think it was a
No, I
wonderful
like it.
idea.
It's nice. But next time, give us multiple choices so that we don't do anything wrong. And give us an E, an escape that says none of the above.
Could be.
No,
Take
that
us
was
off
good,
the
Jose.
hot
It
seat.
was
Take us
very
off the
good.
hot seat.
And it was nice as well for us to be able to speak a little differently from what we usually do, wasn't it, Carlito?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a lot of fun. Most importantly,
But
to be able to share another hour with the great professor. It's good for you to be back down there to see you. Because if we didn't know that you just got home just a couple of days ago, there's no way by hearing your voice or by looking at your bit we would have any idea. So it gives me a lot of assurance that we have Jose Blanco for a lot of years to come. So I better get my batteries charged because I know that I'll be here. You'll be calling me every 20 minutes or every 30 minutes for, what's up? What am I doing? How do I feel? Anything new? You got to, you want to make sure you're ahead of the game, not on the game, but ahead of the game. And I see that smile in your face, and I see that encouragement and everything, that optimism. So I'm very happy. I think we have this is going to be a very exciting year. I hope that we all could continue to stay healthy above all. But I think that we have so many ideas. I know Jeremiah and I have been talking about things that we're working on for years and years now, that things are falling into place. And I believe that everything has to happen at the right time. You can't rush things. And there's reasons, and the results end up being so much better that way. And now with the infrastructures that we have in place in the Dominican Republic and all the support and everything that we've been able to gather and accomplish, everything is falling into place. So you're going to be seeing, as we also spoke, Jose, a lot of things that I think that the market's going to appreciate, because I really don't believe in forcing products into the market or making something because you need to or you want to force for more shelf space, or you want to have more products, or make something because somebody else is doing something and is doing well and you want some of that business. I believe things have to happen organically. It's like somebody. I think if you're a story writer and you write stories, you just don't say, "Listen, I got to write another story this week because I finished another one next week. What am I going to write about?" That's not it. Things happen because the market's hungry for it. They're hungry for something different, with a new twist, with a change, and those opportunities don't arise every day. but we have so many things in the back of our minds that we've been able to focus on materializing those things during this pandemic because we've had more time to think and more time to put these thoughts together. So I'm happy you're feeling well, and it's very exciting. I'm looking forward to, you put my feet to the fire, and you as well, Jeremiah, so that together we could accomplish some really great things in 2021 and continue into 2022. These are going to be some very exciting years, very important years for the future of the world of cigars and our world in particularly. So welcome back, my brother.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back, Jose. And before we finish the show, I think it's time that we put Jose on the hot spot. Jose, you ready?
Oh my God.
Melanie, welcome to the show.
Hello, welcome. Thank you. Well, definitely. I think this is a great idea. Let me think about this. All right, so I had to use my iPad, so I look a little different. All right, so Jose, you've worked with so many companies, so many cigar industries or different manufacturers. Which one would you say is probably the most difficult company or people, maybe coworkers you've had to work with, and an example of that difficulty?
That's one I'm going to take the fifth on, because to be honest with all the companies that I've worked with, they have different styles. Whether it was with Joya de Nicaragua, all my years at La Aurora, working with Ernie was great. Have I learned in every company that I've worked with? Yes. And every company that I've left, I have an excellent relationship. And now, working with Fuente and working with Jeremiah, even though I've been smoking for 55 years, I still have a lot to learn. And I know that I will learn more. But to be honest, companies difficult? No. Now, that said, people within the companies difficult? Yes. Because anybody who tells me that he has worked with a company that has 100 employees and you got along with the 100 of them, I'll just tell them you're a liar. So I've had my ups and downs with certain people, especially at, I would say, at La Aurora, because when you're family with the owners, they try to tell you a kind of a different story. But other than that, for companies that I've worked with, I appreciate, I respect, and I will always, always be there for anything I could do for them.
Excellent. All right, so then you're in sales. What do you think the market is gonna, do? What do you think you're gonna have to create to be able to create more sales? Or, I mean, obviously it's not gonna be more product, as Carlito just mentioned. So what kind of actions do you think you have to make to get more product out there?
Well, the product, we don't make it. Carlito makes it, and they will never, never. I'll tell you something. 1993 till 1997, the United States imported 447 million cigars. There were two companies did not make one cigar more than they had the previous year. There was Fuente and Padron. Other companies did this, they did that. I'm not going to mention companies. What you can be sure, and the people who are out there listening, is that we will always have product that's consistent, product that's good, that is aged, that's going to draw well. And the sales team in the States and what Jeremiah and I do for the rest of the world is going to be a class act. Because what makes us different from other companies is the way that we interact with people, respect people, and try to help people, companies, consumers, distributors, and store owners. So we will keep doing what we've done for years. Jeremiah's been in the business like hundreds of years. Carlito 109, I think 109 years. We're not going to change anything. We're just going to keep doing the things that we do well. That's
Okay, so one quick thought about your the internet is kind of something new that has been, I guess or intertwined with the businesses. So how do you think that you can have the internet, where do you see that actually going with social media?
Listen, let me tell you something. I was probably Jonathan Drew and me, and I have to admit, when I was at Hoya, I learned a lot from Jonathan, because I don't care what anybody says, the king of social media is Jonathan Drew. There's nobody that even gets close. So I learned a lot from him. But remember, at that time, social media was starting little by little, little by little. Now everybody's on Instagram or on Facebook or on Twitter. But the problem, it's not how many posts you make. It's the quality and the content of what you make. Because I've seen people with big names, they get 3 likes and 1 comment. I take my time. It's like when Jeremiah and I and Carlito post, we get hundreds of likes and a lot of comments. People want to see what we have to say, and we don't BS or write, stupid things like, unfortunately, a lot of people do. So social media is a tool, but you really have to know how to handle it with respect and also respect other people. I don't care what anybody writes, even if something bad about our product, I will inbox him directly and not go and fight on social media and say, what is your problem? So the problem is, a lot of people like to bring all these fights on social media, and this guy has 50 guys and the other guy's 100 guys, and then they start the thing that you think is the Vietnam War on social media. And take my word, that does not help. And that's why our social media is different from other companies and other people. We respect people, and our social media has content.
Awesome.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Melanie. And Jose, you got out of that one pretty well.
Yeah, I didn't have to take the 5th.
You didn't have to take the 5th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the day. But before we go, one more surprise for you. The one and only Rich Myberg. Rich, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's been a joy watching the questions and answers today. And Jose, you said you're not doing politics, but there's a group that wished you well throughout all of your ordeal that were with COVID. And it's Team Pork Roll. They were behind you the whole time. And I know you'll get a kick out of that. Some of the questions you guys asked were great today. Who would you rather smoke with? One came to mind for me. His name was Julius Henry Marx. Most people know him as Groucho Marx. He's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But he would have been just a pleasure to smoke a cigar with. In actual real life, I was blessed to be with the cigar family down in Tampa and smoke cigars with the panel, Stanford Newman, Carlos Fuente, who else was there? Bobby, Eric, Carlito, and we had John Oliva, Angel's son. I don't think Richard Meerapfel was there, but he was there in spirit because everybody spoke so highly of him. That was probably some of the most enjoyable smokes I've ever had with that team of incredible people. Bucket list. Yeah, I've had a bucket list for a while, and that is to visit our children in the DR. Brenda and I didn't have kids, but for the past 20 some odd years, we've been supporting Cigar Family Charitable Foundation, watching these young people grow and exceed anyone's expectations. So that's on my bucket list with Brenda, to go visit our children in the DR. Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, actors both, but Clint Eastwood takes it to another level with his directorial skills. I've enjoyed a lot of his stuff. the fact that he's used my friend Arturo Sandoval to do the music for The Mule, which to me, his selection of music was an added character to that movie. So I'd have to go with Clint. Sinatra and Tony Bennett. I would go with Sinatra, but I would also say that one of my favorites of all times was the late Ella Fitzgerald. Brenda and I were blessed to have seen her live a couple of times in a nightclub in Dallas, Texas. Jeremiah, I got your wish. I was born in the 40s and went through all that kind of stuff. Carlito has mentioned many times on the show that this is all about people, not about cigars. And he's right. I was thinking the other day, beating this COVID nonsense, that back when I beat cancer a number of years ago, one of the phone calls I got was from Carlito. And between all the people in Cigar family that had their prayers, I know that's what aided me in getting rid of that cancer so quickly. In this past couple of weeks, hearing from Carlito and a phone call from Cynthia has just redoubled my efforts to get rid of this COVID stuff. God bless you both, and I know it's been a tough week for you, Cynthia. And for this week's story, I'll dig up an old one. You know, I used to fly a lot in the clothing business, being VP of sales for a number of companies and flying with salesmen all over the country. And I remember sitting on a flight one time up in business class. There was 3 across. I was on the aisle, and there was a gentleman in the window and a lady between us. And this guy looks over and realizes she's reading a book on human sexuality. And he said, ma'am, what are you learning from a book like that? Well, really, she says, I'm studying this as a college thing, but what I've learned so far is that the American Indians are hung better than anyone else in the world. And he said, really? And she says, yes, and Jewish guys make the best lovers, the most caring, the most wonderful lovers in the world. And she says, by the way, my name is Sally. He says, I'm glad to meet you. My name is Running Bear Goldstein.
That's a good one, Rich. That was a good one.
Goldie.
Fantastic. All right, Rich, thank you so much.
And
All right,
Rich,
see you
we're
all
also
next
very
You
week.
happy
take
to
care of
see you.
yourself.
Happy to see
Well,
you back, looking good and looking strong, my friend.
Well, you know, it's because of you guys and Cynthia and everybody on Cigar Family that has wished Brenda and I well in our recovery from this COVID. Unlike Jose, who lost his voice for at least 7 days, I only lost it for 2 or 3 days, which means singing along with Arturo on some of his casts on Facebook. I couldn't hit my notes, but I'll get my voice back soon. Thanks,
Amazing.
everyone. I'll see you all
Thank you
next
very
week.
much. See you next week. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks, Rich.
Again,
Take
love to
care.
Brenda. I'm glad both of you are doing well. Take care.
Thank you.
Professor, Mr. Professor, you know,
Yes.
listening to our lovely Melanie asking those questions and everything, there was very good questions that she asked you. Something came to mind, but the Godfather decided just to blank me out and everything. He didn't pay attention to me when I was trying to catch his attention for me to ask my question. You know, it's okay. One day maybe I'll be the one behind the controls. But I have a question for you. You know, Jose, I've known you, and we were close friends before you were even in the cigar business. Of
That's
course,
right.
you're related to the cigar business. You love cigars. You work for the family conglomerate company and everything. And but even before then, when you started working with La Aurora, we remained very good friends, cordially. We see each other and everything. Once in a while, we got together and everything, but we never, ever really talked about any of the internal things of the company. I was never a question asked, and it was never something volunteered. And from there, you worked with other companies, with our friends in Nicaragua. You lived in Nicaragua, and then with my brother, who always says he's my brother, Ernie, and everything. And we've had dinners, 8-hour lunches, and we talked about tobacco. We talked about different things, but never once have you said anything negative in all the many years that I know you about any company. And I never asked you a question about any company because to me, that's just something I respect, taboo. If I'm a college, that's not who you are, and that's not who I am. And I think that's one of the reasons our relationship bond is so strong because we have the same principles. But I do have a question. You work for different companies, and Melanie asked you about getting difficulties and so forth, and you answered it precisely the way it is. It's not the companies. It might be individuals within a company, and we all have that. Everybody. I do, you do, and everybody. But I have a question that I think it's not getting into the privacy of any company. Is there a difference, actual difference? I think it's important for the consumer to know. You that have been with 4 companies and more, from different countries and everything. Aside from everybody struggles and strives to make the best cigars they possibly can, and the cigars they believe are the best in the world because they believe that, because that's why they, each company individually. Is there a difference in each of the companies? Is there identifiable difference? Should the consumer understand that even a cigar might be the same shape as another cigar? That everybody, are there differences in process? Are there different? I'm not asking which are the processes, but is there difference in the way things are done, the way people ferment, the way people age, the way people color select, the way people, all the different things that they do? Are there real differences from one company to another, from one factory to another, in your experience of life? That's my question.
Look, to be honest, basically, the companies that I've worked with, well, with the exception of Ernesto, but Ernesto's been around for 50 years. I would say there are certain differences in the way the tobaccos are fermented, the process, the way the cigars are made. Like at Fuente, we do entubado. In La Aurora, it's the book. In Nicaragua, some cigars are the book and some are estuvado. Ernie is basically entubado. But to be honest, I think that the big, really detail in companies, it's not only the 4 companies I work with, has to be basically 2 things. The tobacco, the quality of tobacco, the aging, and the chef. To me, I think that is something that there's differences in style. There's differences even the positioning of the leaves. For some people, they put the leaves in a different way. Other companies do it in another way. But without getting really into a lot of details, in my personal opinion, I think, of course, the quality controls and the people and keeping the people motivated. Because at the end of the day, the brand is very important. But if the people that you have there that are making the cigars, that are working with the trojas, that are despadillando the tobaccos, are not motivated, are not happy, the product will not come out the way it should. So I would say these 4 companies, the people are highly motivated, maybe in one company more than another, but the process just changed in a couple of things. And I would say that part of the thing is to make the cigars, how long do you leave them there? Is it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? The tobaccos that you're using, is it 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? The classification of cigars. Some people use the draw testing machine. Other people don't like it. That's the way I see it. But there's a lot of similarities, but you just maybe in the process and the tobaccos that are used and how long the tobaccos are in the bales of tobacco are in the warehouse. But to me personally, and that's something that I learned many, many years ago about the importance to working with good old aged tobacco. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, I agree. I think it's important for the consumer to understand every manufacturer strives to make the best cigars in the world, to make the best cigars. And they make the best cigars they can, and they believe that they're making the best cigars. But I realized without having walked in other people's factories, I don't go to other people's factories, but when I was a lot younger, I used to go to every factory. Before people would look at me as a threat, to walk in the factory, I was a student of some of the greatest cigar makers at that time when I was learning. But there's definitely differences, and those differences, even though they might be minute, everybody had their own things. It makes it overall, it makes a difference, and that's why I think that the consumer might think that cigars are the same, but they all have their subtleties, they all have their differences. And this is why we go back over and over. I think no one has ever denied this or said otherwise. It's a question of personal taste. There's a lot of great cigars. What somebody's favorite cigar might not be the favorite for someone else. And I think that with all the media and all the information being given out by so many people with so much knowledge, I think the consumers are starting to understand that, to respect the choice of somebody else. It's a conversation, but it should never be an argument.
Carlito, one thing I can tell you, and this, you could write it with blood. 20, 25 years ago, we know who the successful companies have been for years and years, but there was a lot of people making cigars. And a lot of people made average cigars and got away with that. What I could tell you today, that doesn't work. The consumer knows. The consumers have been to social media. They've been to Dominican. They've been to Nicaragua. They've been to Honduras. A lot of them have gone to Cuba. A company gets, let's say, the #1 cigar of the year, and that first 100, 200,000 cigars are on point, and all of a sudden you run out of the materials and things like that, I can guarantee you, consumers will know it. I'm not going to mention names, but we know companies that have gotten high scores, and those brands, after a year and a half, they totally. Yes, okay, good, Jasper. And after a year and a half, they've gone away. Personally, to me, those days are over. If you don't make a good, consistent cigar that draws well, that burns well, that tastes well, take my word, you're not going to last, or you're going to sell very few cigars.
No, you're absolutely right, Jose, because there's so many great cigars on the market.
I know.
There's no room in the market today for mediocre. There's so many great cigars from so many great manufacturers.
But Carlito, if I may, I'd like to add something to what you're saying, to what Jose said particularly, and I feel that I agree with what you guys are saying, but I think there's an extra inch to all of this. There's an extra mile to all of this, and I see that the industry has reached a certain level where, and this is where I join you, Jose, where there's a lot of good stuff going on. A lot of people know what they're doing, but, and this is where I'd like to add my opinion. We see this in a lot of industries. We see industries reaching a level of excellence or a level of decency, which is great. However, there are still, in my humble opinion, a very, 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 very few minute individuals with their teams that bring things to the next level. And that is done by the accumulation of details and pushing those details to a limit which in the eyes of most is unnecessary and or unacceptable. And it is in those details that magic is born. It is in those details where acceptable and good becomes outrageous and incredible. And that one doesn't see very often in any industry in the world. And without pointing fingers or naming names, because this show is not about that, I believe that there's still a very big distance between Earth and the moon, and then the moon and the sun. And there's very, very, very few, whether it's in the cigar industry or any other industry, which is able to get to the sun or to the stars. And fine, everybody can do a entubado or a this or a that, but I don't think this is what we're speaking about now. We're speaking about pushing things to a limit that others don't see the necessity to push it to that limit. And for
Very
those who
well said,
recognize,
Jeremiah.
for those who recognize yourselves out there, well done.
I agree with
Very, very nice
Jeremiah.
said.
You know, it's said that God is in the details, and sometimes those little details makes a huge difference. That extra month, those extra 2 years on that broadleaf or Cameroon or Criollo 98 or Coron 99, whatever it is. I'm going to say something here. One of my mentors is Benjamin Menendez, without a doubt. And I remember in the beginning, I wasn't even with La Aurora when I met him and all that. And he would always say, sobrino, nephew, if there is something that I see, unfortunately, and he's told me throughout the years, that I only see in a couple of companies, is the amount of old tobacco. Because let's go back to Cuba. Now the cigars are not what they used to be, but anybody who knows Cuban history, they know those tobacco was 3, 4, 5 years old. That's the difference with today. And I only know maybe 4 or 5 companies that have the inventory that has made them successful year after year. This is something we could pick up another day. To me, first of all, I would like to thank Carlito and Jeremiah through all I went through, to the thousands of people who sent me notes, of course, Emma, Ochi, Jose Rolando, my family, my kids. I've had, you guys have had my back, and to me that means a lot. Let's finish
deserve
off,
it.
Jim.
You deserve it. You have planted nothing but seeds of love throughout your life, and now you're not just receiving the harvest of all those love and embraces and respect that people have for you, Jose. I'm not surprised by the amount of people who reached out to me or wrote me or reached out to me that they heard that you were not doing well, that sends their love and you were in their prayers. It blew my mind, but it didn't surprise me how many people love you.
I believe I tell them and I tell my kids, I'm a very blessed man, because there was moments where I said, you know what, I'm a goner, but Lord, the prayers, and of course, I had the best medical attention here. I mean, the doctor we have here, these people come from Greece, from Kosovo, from Bulgaria, from Albania, and because the owner of the hospital is the owner where I live, he got me in there, and I appreciate it a lot. But more than anything else, the prayers and the thoughts of all you guys. Very happy to be
And
back.
Jose, going back to absolutely, and we welcome you. And like you said so many times, what other industry, what other high-tech industry or other industry would you have consumers reaching out, sending messages, where you have so many people from around the world concerned and sending messages and receiving that much love? I think it's only in this wonderful industry that we're a part of. It is very special. You know, we could be competitors with other companies and everything, but when it comes to time that that we need each other or there's something going on, everybody unites. And I've seen it done over and over again in so many different cases. This is such a special industry that we're all blessed to be part of.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to have Mr. Jose Blanco, aka the Professor, back with us today. It's that time of the day, but just before we go, Melanie, could you please explain to everybody how they can get back on this show and watch this once more if they want to have to put up with Carlito and I's crazy answers on everything?
All right, guys. So you can go to our YouTube channel. It is www.tinyurl.com/The Professor Show. Go there, subscribe, hit the bell, and make sure that you get notified every time we go live. And if you don't in YouTube, you can you can watch all of our previous episodes. So all of the episodes are there, which is probably like over 75 now. It's crazy. And we have also our Facebook, which you can also be notified whenever we go live. So it's even more convenient. Hit the notification at facebook.com/The Professor Show and follow us there.
Right. And remember, we're counting on all of you to get up and to march the fight with the various organizations, whether it's Cigar Rights of America. What's the website, Melanie?
Did I say too many W's? Okay, www.cigarrightsoftheworld.com. Go there, and all you have to do is a quick sign up. It takes about 2 seconds. It costs your name and your email address, and it's going to make a difference. So
Okay, Cigar Rights of the World. You could all sign up if you haven't already. If you're on the international markets, there's Cigar Rights of America in the United States, which is a must. You need to sign on to that as well. And everybody's going to do the necessary footwork to keep lobbying and to keep pushing in the direction of
and the
freedom.
ambassadors.
And the ambassadors.
Yes.
Go ahead, Melanie.
All right, if you are interested in being an ambassador for your state, for your area, for the point of being an ambassador, then send an email to Reinhardt@cigarrightsoftheworld.com. That's Reinhardt, REINHARD.
Well done. All right. Thank you, Melanie. All right. So who is our guest of honor next week? Jose.
Yeah, well, I got off the phone with him, a long conversation yesterday, and he was very happy in regards to you, in regards to Carlito, to everyone. We're going to have probably a very exciting show, because the person going to bring is none other than Mr. Steve Saka, which I've known for 20 plus years. Carlito probably knows him forever. He told me he knows you and he had a story about you, but he said maybe we won't talk about it on the show, but he laughed about it. So we'll have Steve Saka next week, a very talented person in the industry. He's done it all, and I would advise cigar lovers to tune in next week, because with Saka, we're going to have a great time.
Is Saka coming on next week or on the 7th?
Sorry, it's on. Oh, thank God. No, next week we're having, thank God for clarifying that. Saka's on the 7th. We're having next week a father and son team that are amazing, which is Eric and Jordan from Cigar Dojo. It's all this medicine has me crazy. Thanks, Jeremiah.
You're welcome. All right, so we got the boys from Cigar Dojo coming up next week. This is going to be huge. Cigar Dojo on our show. Wonderful. I can't wait. And I'm sure Carlito, Melanie, Rich, and of course, the professor can't wait to get down there next, right?
Definitely.
All right, wonderful. Professor, you rest and make sure that next week you're even in better shape than you are today. You're looking pretty good, and we're all happy to see you in such a wonderful state. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the day. We have run 36 minutes over our time, but what a special show it was to be able to welcome our brother, our uncle, and for some, our great-grandfather, Mr. Jose Blanco back to the show. We are so happy to have you back, Jose. And you have no idea how much it fills our hearts to have you back on the show, smiling and making sure that life just continues. And this is what it's all about. As Carlito would say, it's all about people. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching the Fuente and Meerapfel show. And remember, take care of yourselves and of others. And if you don't do it with passion, don't do it at all. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Night.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye,
Take
kids.
care, Rich, Jose. Welcome back, Rich. Good to see you strong. Love to everybody.
Thank you.
Melanie, Son.
Thank
good
you,
to see
guys.
Mom.
Mel,
Great show. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. Good
Bye-bye,
night,
everyone.
everybody.
good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.